and welcome to a next webinar session with me on Technology Thursdays. As with those who have joined us here before, I'd like to repeat the same thing. So this will be a monthly webinar brought to you by Paloe Group. Today, we have two partners with us. One is actually today is a very special session because today is the first time that we will be having an overseas speaker. Thank God for technology, because I would think if we have a physical session, I will not be able to afford an overseas speaker to come and speak with us. Today we have Mr. Chang. You can call him KC. He's actually the ASEAN Lead Talent on Principal Asset Management Berhad in Malaysia. And of course, we have our speaker, Mr. Lam Mun Choong. We call him Munch. He's a CEO and founder of Drvn. So this will be a 45 minutes to an hour-long webinar. Feel free to enter your Q&A along the way in the box below. So maybe let's start with some pleasantries first. Hi Munch, hi Casey. How are the both of you doing?
Good to be here. Thank you, KJ.
Hey KJ, good to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can see both of you guys, the background, very realistic. Even though they are actually virtual background, I guess mine isn't as good as the both of you. I see the logo of Drvn and Principal Asset Management. Very good product placement in a way. So maybe further ado, shall I get the both of you to introduce yourself, the company? Maybe you can start with Munch first.
Right. Thank you so much, KJ, and thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Mun Choong. I'm the CEO of Drvn Enterprise. So Drvn is basically a software as a solution, software as a service platform with our HQ in Singapore to basically help our clients engage talent to improve productivity, learning, performance, and so on and so forth with our employee experience platform.
Right, thank you, Munch. Maybe you can now start with Casey.
Hey, hi everybody. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Chang. You can call me Casey. Easier for everybody to call me. Basically, I am the Learning and Talent Lead for Principal Asset Management Berhad, Southeast Asia. Principal Asset Management Berhad is a joint venture between the Principal Financial Group, a Fortune 500 based in USA, and CIMB Group Holdings in Malaysia, right? We are an asset management company, so basically we help our clients, individual or companies, to protect or advance their financial well-being, whether through our unit trusts, our retirement schemes, different mandates, and generally asset management expertise. Yeah. So this is essentially what we do. And I think in this region of the world, we manage around maybe 30 billion Singapore dollar worth of asset management. Yeah.
Right, thanks for the both of your brief introduction. I think it is actually interesting to have Drvn and of course Principal Asset Management Berhad to be here today for employee engagement. As we all know, because of technology and of course I would say repercussions of COVID-19, a lot of teams are actually working remotely now, be it both in the local or you can do it as in the region base. So it'll be very interesting today to have both a local view and of course like a regional view from Casey in that manner. So this point into the first, I would say, question that I'd like to ask the both of you. There was an article that was actually shared last week by the CEO of DBS Bank, P.H. Gupta. So he was speaking a bit on leadership management, especially when probed about the recent news about all of this, the local Singaporeans and stuff. So I'd like to ask for the both of you guys on your opinion. What do you think is the future of leadership management? Maybe you could start with Munch.
Right. I think leadership has always been about influence, as in, you know, as a leader, do you have a reason for people to follow you, right? And in this particular age, I think a lot of leaders depends on town halls, depends on face-to-face meetings, depends on hierarchy to manage people. But in this age of what you call the future of work, you know, where there is a strong element of remote working and employees expect flexibility, they expect freedom and so on. it's more important for leaders to exert influence by being seen and heard, no matter where employees are. It's also equally important that leaders can listen to employees, even when everybody is working from home.
Right. Okay. Casey, would you like to add in?
Yeah, I mean, well, I completely agree with Munch here. I guess from my line of work, basically, when we talk about leadership, we talk about not just leaders as in the CEOs, the C-level, or the managers, right? We also talk about the kind of personal self-leadership, right? Now, in this day and age, right, as we are more, how do you say, democratizing, with the tech, actually tech is a form of empowerment, right? There's a lot of things now you can do. You can empower yourself to upskill yourself, to do a lot more things, I mean, like we just discussed just now, right? I mean, we can start our own talk show if we want, and who knows, we are a YouTube sensation, right? I mean, I would just quit the company, I'm just saying, right? But the empowerment element is there, and the tech should be there to help us achieve that, right? In terms of as an employee or as a leader, right? So because leadership exists in all levels, not just someone who has direct reportees or someone who is a C-level in the company. So yeah, I think the the tech plays an important role in these days and age. It's a proven kind of a solution, and it will be a missed opportunity if we don't utilize it for our benefits.
Thanks, Casey. That's two very interesting points that I would like to emphasize for the viewers here. So you touched on the first thing in terms of technology, how to actually utilize it, and second, you actually talk about the different, I would say, not the hierarchy, but the different levels of, let's say, leadership management in all, I mean, throughout the organization. So this brings me to the next question. We actually touch on your first point. So in terms of tech, most companies will think that, oh, as long as I adopt the latest technology, my company will be forward-looking. I mean, I know it's a sweeping statement, but maybe Casey, you could share on your thoughts on this to build on your previous point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, my background as an engineer tells me that, tech, like everything else, is a tool, right? And the tool keep changes through times, right? I mean, back in the days where, human gain their consciousness, they start the tool using a stone, right? Obviously, we don't use stone and to start a fire now. We are much more advanced right now. The question to ask ourselves is that, are we using whatever tools that's available in the market now to help achieve our objective, right? Now, going back to your questions, right? Now, a company who uses a tool is just one element of whether you're a forward-looking company or not. What is more important is how are you applying the tools in achieving objective, right? So if you just do it for the sake of doing it, you may not be going anywhere, right? Just like everybody has a cell phone with them nowadays, right? Doesn't mean that everybody has a cell phone that is very productive and they're actually achieving a lot of their objective of financially free or very productive, right? So it could be you just use a phone and it actually distract you from your true potential or your true objective in life, right? So I would like to really look at the company when they are adopting a certain technology. How do they make it relevant for them? How do they make it relevant for their employees, and fit into the cultures that they are in, right? So any technology company can provide you multiple solutions, but you, within your company, your leadership should understand what kind of technology works for you and how you can use it to achieve your objective.
Okay, nicely said. Munch?
Right. So I personally, I think the keyword isn't technology, but the keyword is digital. And being digital and being technical is two different things, right? Even as a startup ourselves, Self-Drvn is my third startup, and I lead a group of very young, energetic, open to learning people. We ourselves are going through our own digital transformation. So I told my team that just because we have Microsoft Office and laptops doesn't mean we are digital. Because to me, if all I do with Microsoft Office is to type documents, I'm no different from a grandmother using a typewriter. However, the typewriter comes with a screen and internet connection, right? So what we do with technology determines how digital or forward-looking we are. I think that the end goal for companies when they use technology is to say, how can I encourage, motivate my people to use technology to solve customer problems? Therefore, in the process, help me grow, help the company grow. For me, that is the most important and the essence of technology adoption.
This will be an interesting topic because I guess the next questions that some of our viewers have do write on your answer. So for the next question also being put up by most of the viewers here is, I mean, back to the main key topic here today, right? We are talking about employee engagement. So both of you guys, one will be enabler for self-driven, and for Casey yourself, you are in charge of the leadership management, the ASEAN Lead and all. So what would you think are the key topics in employee engagement? Maybe we can start with Munch.
The key topics in employee engagement. I saw the question on the Q&A already. How are we different from other HR system? I would say the key topic is really employee enablement or empowerment, meaning, you know, when we are doing employee engagement, whether you're a HR or a line manager doing it, you know, what is your end goal, right? I think the best end goal is, if you want employees to be engaged, help employees win. What do you mean by helping employees win? Number one is you ask yourself, how can I remove all the barriers from this person's work? How can I make his job simpler? Number two is, how can I help him grow in his career? Put it very bluntly, can I help him get promoted faster by learning faster and doing a better job, right? So if whoever is responsible for employee engagement is thinking that way, I think there is a better chance that employee engagement will work. If employee engagement is about surveying employees to know how they feel and how they rate the company and their boss and so on and so forth, but in the end doesn't result in employee growth, making employees' jobs simpler, then that form of employee engagement doesn't benefit the company, doesn't benefit employees.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that the Q&A came in thick and fast, but great. Casey, would you like to lend your mind in this?
Yeah, I mean, Mun has touched on a very good point, right? You always have a business objective in mind, right? Why do you want to engage the employee for, right? Now, the key things that in my area, in my line of work is this, right? Sometimes as Munch shared earlier, we have engagement in the form of, you know, town hall, you know, have makan sessions, as we call it, right? And this is one touch point, right? So how many touch points can a leader do, right? And what happens to the 98% of the time where you're not touching them, right? So how do you fill this gap? It's a huge gap. And actually you need to think whether it's already a solution in the market or not, which the answer is yes, right? Imagine how we engage with a cell phone every day in, day out. How many apps are we using? How are those apps you know, influencing our everyday decisions, right? And you can do that. I mean, you can have that level of rapport with the employee as well, right? So the key topics you should look into is do you do enough in terms of engagement? Do you think your manager, one of the things we always say that employee engage not with the company, but with their direct manager. That's why they're being called direct manager, because that person love this company or they want to leave this company because of my manager, right? So do you think your leaders at all levels are doing enough to engage the employee, right? And if not, what can we do as a company or as a HR? You know, I would just sort of ask myself this question. So apparently there is more, right? Especially with the digital way of things that we talked about. So this is essentially what we're trying to answer as well, right? So how do we engage the employee, and are we doing enough with the help of not just physical, but non-physical kind of opportunities?
Right. I guess both of you have made very, I would say, succinct points in terms of engaging employees and also how the whole landscape has actually changed because of technology, or like what Munch had said, going digital in some way or the other. So if for now, maybe I'll just leave it to Munch from Self-Driven to show how this digitalization or how this software is actually helping employees to be promoted, hopefully. Okay, so Munch, I'll leave it over to you to share your screen.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me do that. Okay. You see my screen right now?
Yes, we can.
Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see. It's clear.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen, by the way?
Yes, we can see it. Very nice. 5 people, yes.
Hi, can you hear me, Casey?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you, Munch. I can hear you.
We hear you.
Okay.
You need to share your screen.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Sorry. When I switch to the share screen, I think my devices went a bit haywire. So give me a second.
Sure, it's fine. I think it's rainy weather today in Singapore.
What's that?
I think it's rainy weather in Singapore. Everyone is just a bit more cranky now. Okay.
Right. Okay. Are you able to see my slide right now?
We can.
Oh, okay. Let me try to see if I can make this work. New slideshow. Okay. Okay. So I hope you can still hear me. So I'm going to go through a very quick few slides introduction of the company because I already see some questions from the audience, and I think some of my presentation slides will answer that. Self-Driven is founded in 2015 in Singapore. So we are a talent engagement platform to help our clients basically maximize employee potential, if you like. And the technology we use, consists of, for example, analytics, gamification, and digital nudges that will basically help employees and managers focus so that in the end, we get a more positive outcomes out of a team. From a recognition perspective, in Singapore and Malaysia, we're recognized as one of the best employee engagement platform. And also from an international recognition perspective, we are one of the software vendor that is recognized by Gartner as somewhat innovative in the space of human capital management and digital workplace. So Gartner listed us as a employee experience platform. And if you were to see the Gartner report, we're actually the only Asian company being listed in that category. All the other companies or competitors in that area come mostly from the US and Europe, but we're the only one in Asia, right? So that's quite something. So as I said, I think we want to help our clients, number one, deliver a good employee experience that will help them attract and retain talent better. Two is drive high performance and digital transformation with a highly engaged and skilled workforce. Three is also a common trend where we are seeing at least 30% of companies are actually increasing the number of freelancers or gig workers they use in this current day and age. So our platform also help our clients manage that aspect of work, right? So with that very, very quick introduction and a video, I just want to now go into a live demo of our solution. This version of the demo actually runs inside a collaboration software called Microsoft Teams, which is very similar to Zoom. So some companies or clients may be familiar with Microsoft Teams. So let me start by saying, when an employee come to work, the first thing that they will interact with is actually a chatbot in Microsoft Teams that was actually created by us. So take for example, our chatbot is called Samantha, and then if a new hire were to be onboarded without going to the office, how are you going to do the onboarding and orientation? So our goal is to say, at least for the training of our software, it is able to be done, and employees can be supported via a chatbot, right? The second thing is, this is also a chatbot that will actually remind employees to focus on what's important. Take for example, in this particular case, this person has a goal that basically to take care of privacy, for data privacy. And because his goal has overdue and I'm the reviewer, I actually get a reminder that this is overdue. So I could go and talk to the person to figure out how to get things on track, right? And then I will also be challenged by the chatbot. Chatbot will come to me and say, on a daily basis, the chatbot will basically find personalized and tailored challenges and deliver to every single employee. In this case, as an employee, I get a challenge called the daily goal getter, right? So what does that mean? I will now click on that particular challenge, or we call it quest in our system. So when someone go in there, he will see all the challenges that are tailored for his role, his position, his location, and so on and so forth. So this being a demo system, I'm showing you quite a few different things here. The first thing is, in order to help employees cultivate good productivity habits, no matter where they work, at home, in the office, what we do is to say, okay, we encourage you to complete at least one goal a day every day, right? And this challenge will always get refreshed on a daily basis. So as long as employees complete a goal every day on the system, they get 1,000 experience points. And then, that experience points will contribute to them some performance transparency in the company, right? He has another 9 hours to complete this goal today. So that's an example of a challenge, right? So this is standardized for every employee. However, if you are a salesperson, then maybe your challenge is a bit different. Your challenge is to say, create 5 new sales leads every week in the CRM, right? This being a weekly performance challenge, you have another 3 days until Sunday to complete this. If you do that, then you are going to win yourself 50,000 experience points. In terms of helping company to promote open culture, positive culture, we can use the same challenge structure as well. In this case, let's say you want to make sure employees learn from feedback, right? But not everybody works from the office. How are you going to do that? So here is a weekly challenge to say every employee should give feedback to a colleague at least once a week. If you do that, you get recognized, right? If you're an IT guy who just joined the company, then maybe the some IT training or very specific functional training can be presented to you because your role is IT. And then, you know, your learning journey is laid out here. So for you to learn this, maybe you have to join a group or community in the company where everybody is actually focusing on learning something about that skill, right? You can maybe attend a training event. You know, it could be a webinar these days, or it could be a classroom training in the company, and you mark attendance by scanning a QR code, right? Then after that, you'll be presented with a piece of homework or challenge or assignment to complete. Once you completed the assignment, you can come back here and submit the assignment to maybe a mentor, a trainer, or supervisor to review for you. If he approves your assignment, then you complete a survey and you're able to basically complete this challenge for yourself. So from a company manager perspective, it doesn't matter where your staff is sitting. You will know what they are working on, where they are making progress, whether it is in the form of collaboration or performance or learning for that matter. So all these things are, should I say, can be tailored to the role, to the location, to the position, and so on and so forth, right? So if I want to complete something like goal setting, right? This is something that we encourage our clients to do, because when you're working remotely, what really matters is not how many hours you work, but what result do you bring, what goal do you complete, right? So within the platform itself, we have a goal setting tool to say, okay, everybody can track their goals here. When you complete goals, you get rewarded, recognized, right? And then you can collaborate with your teammates as reviewer. You can say, oh, okay, somebody needs me to review something or what he's done, so I'm able to see who is that, and if I'm one of the reviewer, I'm able to go and approve it. And subsequently this person will get a recognition automatically from the system, right? So again, we try to help companies to have very clear goals. They are result oriented. So it could be something like, oh, okay, my goal is to be the speaker in the Paloe Tech Thursday, right? And then, maybe there's a process or number of tasks you go through to get this done, but then subsequently, we want to analyze what impact are you making, right? So maybe this is a goal that will actually help the company build our brand or create brand awareness. So I'm able to do that and capture the data, down here, I can basically select my reviewer and also my due date, so that the chatbot can remind me before it's due, right? So basically, in essence, I hope I answered the question from one of the audience who asked, how is this different from HR system? I'm pretty sure this is very different from the typical HR system that takes care of leave, attendance, claims, and so on and so forth. Okay, so as people are performing, learning, doesn't matter where they are, at home, in the office, we are creating some sort of performance transparency or progress. So as and when people are performing, they're earning points, their name appears on leaderboard. So roughly I know who is actually consistent, right? I could see a all-time leaderboard to see who does well in the company, in the system as well, right? The next thing is, in addition to getting this sort of recognition, can employees do something else with their points? So here we have basically made available a rewards marketplace to companies to say that if you want to allow your employee a very personalized, flexible way of rewarding themselves, then we have made available many of the popular vouchers available for your employees to redeem with their points. So if I work very hard at home, until Friday, I hit all my goals. I completed all my tasks, hit all my goals this week, and I'm recognized automatically. I could say maybe I want to reward myself by, going to order something good, a good dinner for myself. And guess what? The company is paying for it in a way because, I'm actually redeeming Grab food voucher to pay for it, right? So you can also give the voucher to your colleagues. Let's say they did well as a manager. You want to recognize them. You could redeem a voucher and send it to them, right? So the goal really at the end of the day is, we're not here just to automate what HR does, but we want to create a more human workplace where feedback is important. Having clear goals and achievements is important. Being recognized is important. Collaborating, communicating is important. All right. So that's a very quick demo from me, right? And I'm going back to my slides right now, very quickly to flash some of the clients that we have worked with in the past, mostly in Southeast Asia, but we have also gone to places like India and Middle East and Europe as well. One question that I saw was, okay, how do I convince my company or my boss to invest in technology, right? The way we always like to work with our clients is that we work with you to demonstrate a positive return on investment, right? In this particular case, here there are some statistics from our client to show you that we are able to help them improve learning outcomes, improve sales outcomes, improve employee well-being outcomes. So employees take 5.5 fewer MCs every year. That's a return for the company, right? So to be more specific, I just go through quickly one client. This is a telco from Malaysia who actually interestingly use us to engage not employees, but dealers. Dealers are people who basically carry their product and services and sell them to customers in retail stores across the country in a few hundred locations. So what we do is that with our app, our solution, we actually deliver weekly bite-sized learning content to all the retailers. They are basically salespeople sitting in the shops. Every day, every week, they get challenged with bite-sized learning, either from the customer service perspective, how to improve their service, product knowledge perspective, process perspective, and so on. Then they get also delivered pop quizzes to them. So if they score well in pop quizzes, they get recognized. We challenge them with social media sharing challenges, sales challenges on a weekly basis. And then based on actual results, they actually, we represent everybody's performance individually as a store, so that every store actually know how well they do relative to other stores. So in the end, even store managers and owners get more committed because for them, this goes beyond sales commission, because performance is now transparent. It is also, they're also trying harder, working harder because of pride. So we have not only motivate everybody to try harder, we have also transformed work into a form of team game or team sports, right? And I think one very strong outcome we got out of this is that this Malaysian telco looked at the data and realized that salespeople on our platform generate 2 times more sales than people not on our platform. So that's a very quick sharing from me. Back to you, KJ.
Hey, all right. Thanks, Munch. I actually got 2 main key points lah. So the first one, you talk about giving feedback within the organization, making them feel engaged, making them feel that they are being recognized in some way or the other, give them attainable goals. And the second key thing that I realized is the rewards. So I saw there are a lot of Grab food and stuff. Are there any other kind of rewards that you can put in that is maybe not material in some sense?
I think we make our clients' life easier by giving them a ready collection of popular vouchers that their employees can leverage. So everybody is more motivated to do things, right? But I think we have worked with very creative organizations. I think Casey can give examples in his organization, right? What are the creative stuff that he has done? You know, like we have a banking client who put up a reward where, you know, if you can redeem a reward for your supervisor or even someone more senior than that to write you a LinkedIn recommendation, right? So if you're in the Australia region, we have heard incredible suggestions when we poll the employees and say, what will motivate you to go the extra mile, right? So one of the suggestions that was very popular in Australia was, okay, if my boss will wash my car, I'll be super motivated, right? So there are also clients in the contact center area, right? Again, we want to create rewards that are very personalized, very meaningful to the employee so that they are motivated. Again, we poll them and say, what rewards would you want to see in the rewards marketplace? The top 2 popular rewards, number 1 is if I can take leave on a day of my choosing, I'll be super motivated. I'll try very hard to win that reward. If I can take half a day leave to celebrate my birthday, I'll be super motivated. So if you think about it as a company, actually those things don't cost company extra money, you know, but you're giving a better performing employee more flexibility, more choice, and that is motivating enough.
I guess this is something that I hope most companies, employers who are listening in can seriously consider, because that is what we employees want. So, okay, before we get on to the Q&A, right, just a very nice nugget of information. Casey, who is actually in this call right now, is actually a user of Self-Driven. Am I right, Casey?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you like to share your experiences now that you have your vendor here online as well?
Yeah, I mean, Mun Choong has shared quite a very good sort of case study. I mean, from our end, actually, my problem started when we have to adopt to a new principal, right? If you understand, Principal Financial Group just have just started rebranding themselves in this region. So we were brought in, we're mandated to sort of get employee up to speed with Principal way of doing things and Principal branding, the new core value. So my first challenge is, how do I do it quickly and effectively? And I want to engage, having the employee engage with those topics throughout the year, right? Not just one touch point, 2 touch point, right? So that's why the app comes in nicely. I still need to do my classroom, CEO telling them what is our new direction, what are our new core values. But after they leave the classroom, that's when the real work starts for a lot of us, including me, right? So that's why we come out a lot of challenges, quizzes, like how Munch has mentioned, to make it interesting, and it still costs us something. Munch, it's not that it don't cost us anything, but in comparison, right, the amount of engagement we get, the amount of excitement we get from employees. Imagine, right, you have one app in your company, you can sort of check every morning, what's happening, right? And during the COVID, for example, I like to give this example because it's something that it's not in our plan, it's not in everybody's plan, right? So it's sort of a shock for everybody. But when the COVID's come in, so it's good that we're already on this platform, because imagine every day we have employees share in the platform. How many cases are there? What are the new guidelines? What are the new things that you want to pay attention to? All by themselves. HR doesn't need to announce or do anything. Of course, we still need to do some announcement relevant to the SOPs in the office and all that. But by and large, these are the community sort of inform themselves each other, right? Now, when it comes to the new core values and new behaviors we want to see in the employees because of this new company culture, right? Now, the apps, we sort of built in a very specific badges and rewards within the apps. Now, one example I would like to give always is the show me your core values badges, right? So for example, one of the value is our values is start with the customer. Everything we do, we want to start with the customer. If you notice that your leaders or your peers or anyone in the company demonstrated that behaviors, right? You can actually reward them with the points and the badges, right? And that goes back all the way back to your final experience point that Mun Choong has shared, right? That you can exchange for Grab voucher and whatnot, right? Now, up to your management or your company culture. Some companies say CEO should wash my car, but I think my company cannot do that, huh? But what we can do is this, right? We allow employees to have a day off. If they really want to attack the day off, you need to gather a lot of points. So they can do that, right? They want to buy something, they can use the point for Grab. And they can also use the point to exchange half hour with CEO, right? You have one-on-one with CEO, right? Now, not everybody wants it. The game here is you make it, some people want certain thing, right? It's very personalized, right? I think the keyword is personalized. And the tag allow us to do that, right? And of course, your company culture need to support that as well. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Let's jump to the Q&A now before we run out of time. So yes, I think there's one. How is self-driven different from the other HR systems? Pretty much, I think Munch has actually shared on this. Okay, this next one, talking about hierarchy, how do you convince this generation company to use your software as most of their system adopt what they need and buy software rather than subscription? So I guess what the question was in terms of convincing your company in adopting your software. I think Munch have explained, but do you want to add anything to this?
Okay, let me explain it in a more structured way, right? So there are multiple stakeholders that you have to convince in the company, right? First, starting with the top management. So I think the challenge for a lot of HR is everything you do is a cost. So you have to convince your boss, why do you need to spend this money, right? So as you can see, our approach working with clients always is we try to be data driven. We try to understand business objectives up front. And then over time, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, we try to prove that, the software has generated positive return. The software investment has generated positive returns. I think this is an approach that the management welcomes, right? The second audience you have to convince are maybe middle management, right? So if I'm a manager, why should I do this, right? The first thing is, I think we are taking work away from managers to manage their team. Right, so people always complain about millennials being entitled, needs attention, all that. Guess what? The software is helping you to pay attention to your millennial team members, making sure that they feel included, reward, recognized, even when you're too busy to recognize them. Okay. 3 is you have data to prove that you're doing a good job. You have data to go and manage the performance of your team, because a lot of things that happens on a day-to-day basis can be captured, right? 4 is, I think regardless of which level you are, every human, we all want to be heard. If you go and approach your team, your employees, your managers and say, this is a platform where your senior management will hear you, the adoption rate will be very high. Because now everybody is sitting at home and don't know where. How do you make sure that your voice is heard? Is the question.
Yeah, I think this is just nice, because one of the Q&A questions is, does this system help to connect the lower management with the higher management, which I think Munch have just answered that beautifully. So to the next one, there's this on pricing also. So Munch, is it based on number of users in the company?
Yes, it's based on the number of users in the company. So depending on which country you come from, so we have local pricing, right? And especially when you're in Singapore, I think there are some grants and subsidies that you can tap into and so on. So the pricing question, if I can leave my contact details and anyone interested can come to me, I'll be able to answer directly, right? Yeah. And I think I also want to answer just now a question to say, why should I pay subscription? The answer is that our software is being enhanced, improved, literally every week, right? So just buying the software that you install on the PC or laptop doesn't do that for you. We invest millions of dollars into R&D, by listening to customers, by adopting, using the latest technology such as AI. We are trying to make our software better and better to the point where it becomes what we call a robo boss or robo coach, right? Our end goal is to say, because as a software, I know so much about your productivity habits, your learning, can I use AI to come back and tell you how to better manage your career? Okay,
like a machine learning of sorts, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so last question. I guess this, okay, I'll leave it up to you guys to answer this. I noticed that one of the tasks was to give feedback to the other colleague. Will
Mm.
our name be anonymous or will it show our name? Because some of the feedback can be a critique to some.
Okay, we support both modes, right? We allow you to give feedback anonymously. We also have some games to kind of crowdsource ideas or suggestions that can also be anonymous. I understand the challenge. I understand if it's not anonymous, then maybe you don't get the participation, you don't get the truth and all that. But our suggestion is always, at the end of the day, if we want the company to do well, the team to be successful, we want to help our clients create an open culture. Open culture means that everybody should be honest and open, and they are willing to come forward with ideas and suggestions, you know. And this is especially important when I guess at least half the people out there are not sitting in the same room working as a team. If you don't ask me, I don't tell you, I say at home, even though what I say could have saved the company millions of dollars, how are you going to harness that idea or suggestion?
Okay, this is interesting because the next question that I have actually ties in very nicely with what you guys are doing, what actually I'm answering. So, true or false, great ideas come from beneath the organization. Exactly what you guys have said. Maybe we'll let Munch have a rest. Casey, would you like to share your thoughts on this?
Well, the answer is the great idea comes from when you're having a shower, right? Now what I want to say is this, right? Now, even DBS have their own unicorn tech program, right? Tech internship program, right? Now, what does it tell you, right? The great idea can come from your internal organization, right? Doesn't matter that it will come from outside of organization, but it can come from internal organization. Now, what do you need to do as an organization as a whole, right? Especially the leaders, right? Your role is exactly what Munch have mentioned before. You need to remove the barrier. You need to allow the good ideas to float, and you need to empower to make the good ideas become a reality, right? This is something that it sounds simple, but if you look into the organization structure, the hierarchy that someone asked before, it is a lot more work into it. Now, if you are already in a culture of transparency, openness, as Munch mentioned, you adopt all this technology, your feedback is open, it's a criticism, but it's openly accepted, done in a very productive way. So imagine what kind of potential that could be, right? The best idea may not come from HQ, may not come from Kuala Lumpur, Singapore. It may come from a small town in Penang or, or Pahang, or I don't know, it could be anywhere, anybody in the organization, regardless of their seniority, right? So the whole idea of crowdsourcing ideas is this, right? The unicorns in DBS does not come from the C-level. It does not come from even the working employee. It comes from the interns that joined the organization for 12 weeks, right? So yeah, the answer to this is it can come from anywhere, but you should understand that it can come from your employees. The same employee that you think they don't have good ideas, they don't know what to say, you need to sort of remove certain kind of self-limiting thoughts, in this process. Yeah.
Well said. They could just have more showering rooms in the organization.
Yeah, that could one of the perks. I don't know.
Yes, Munch, I think you've answered a bit. Do you want to expand a little bit?
Definitely, ideas can come from anywhere, and companies will benefit from it if there is open culture, right? There are some other good examples I could share with you. I work with the public sector who actually ran an ideathon. It's not a hackathon because they don't have a lot of people who know programming and all that. So they ran an ideathon, and one of the challenges is, how do we help employees learn core values? Right? Sounds like a super boring challenge, but guess what? The winning entry was a young guy who created an escape room to help employees learn core values. It was super good, super fun, super exciting. Everybody loved it, and they definitely learned core value through a very hands-on experience. And that idea would never have come from anyone from the management.
Okay, okay, that is escape room that I wish to play, learning core values while playing a game. Great, great. Right, so I mean to build on this as well, I mean the next question I guess would be more applicable for perhaps maybe Casey you could share a little bit because you are leading the ASEAN Lead Talent as well. Is there a rule book for organizations to actually engage employees? I mean, coming full circle back to the main key topic here again.
I think in a way, I already mentioned how we should empower employees to take charge of their own engagement, right? I think the model sort of turned upside down already. It is not just the manager's role or the leader's role, or even the C-level's role, right? I mean, the employees can need to find the meaning in working with you, right? Now, the tech or the digitization is just one way to go with it, right? Now, if you would have drawn a couple of bubbles as a person, as an employee, right? When we say you achieve your sort of your best career or best, job, ever, right? Is when your skill is required by this organization and there's a right position for you to demonstrate your skill set, right? But we know that it's not just these few bubbles, right? It's important, but it also circle around your relationship with your manager, relationship with your colleagues, whether or not you have a shower in the company, if that's what works for you, right? So again, right, the answer is not being answered straightforward. You need to sort of look into your organization. What are your employees' wants and needs, right? And you try your best to sort of address the needs, right? Now, in a nutshell, the process should also be continuous, right? You cannot have like, okay, I plan 12 events a year and assume this engagement will be done, right? It's much more than that. Now, as I said earlier, what do you do 98% of the time, right? You're not running an event, you're not doing anything physical, right? So what can you do, right? So I guess some of the takeaways I would like to share is it's an ongoing process. And as you take on this journey, don't forget some of the technology that influence your life, right? You could influence your employee in a similar fashion, right? You could motivate your employees in a similar fashion. And of course, the tech have to change, right? I think Munch said a very good point that as I work with the team, right, there's a lot of changes. We realize we need to change the app in a certain way. We need to have certain features more strong, So all these need to build into their team R&D, and they need to sort of consider this, for the wider good of other users as well, right? So it's an ongoing evolution. I think that's partly the challenge and partly the fun, right? So by and large, I guess that's what I want to share. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the key point you've said is an ongoing process in a way. So for Munch, I know, I mean, you are a startup, but I guess self-driven in a way. Do you think is it like more of a rule book? Is it more the enabler? Do you work together with the senior management? So yeah, what are our thoughts?
I think I want to bring my point back to when my first slide to say that when we say we use AI and data and digital nudges to motivate employees, a lot of what we do, right, in the software, right, we try to apply based on what we call psychology or behavioral science. So there's a question now who asks, is there any kind of unique quest that your company gave that is not work related? So I'm going to answer that question as well. I think the answer is yes. All our clients do it. Casey, in principle, do a lot of the social quests, right? Social challenges.
Yep.
It is very important in this part of the world to do those things together with all the productivity learning challenges. Why? Because in Asian culture, trust is built based on relationship. So when we say we want to have an open communication, open culture, right? You cannot go from zero to open culture overnight. Your employees need to build social relationship first. They need to see each other as friends before they can be open, right? So another example or data point I can share with you is during the so-called COVID lockdown, circuit breakers and whatever, we also do some of these not work-related surveys and polls that we reward people for voicing out. So one of the things that we ask is, okay, what do you miss most about working in the office? And based on our data some of the most popular answers are lunch with colleagues. Right. So at the end of the day, we're all human. So we talk about employee engagement. The rules are the same with engaging other humans, be it your children, your parents, your wife, right? First of all, you want open communication. You don't just want to talk, but you want the other party to listen, correct? Two is you want to do things together. We're all social animals. But the work that we see today very often is designed where this element is missing, right? Football is a lot more engaging than work because you know what? Football is a team sports, right? So the fundamental thing that we're trying to practice is all based on human motivation. Number one is relatedness. You know, are you doing things together? If you do things together, it's more motivating. Number two is autonomy. Do you have a choice? If you have a choice, you're usually more motivated, right? And that is actually part of the failure of, in my view, a lot of corporate learning, where employees come and they have to learn this thing, they have no choice. Everybody follow the same syllabus. From day one, you already killed some of the motivation, right? That's why when you go to our Quest page, you see there are a variety of things. I said, you know, essentially we're trying to say, we can help you win, but you decide which path you take to win.
Okay. Oh, I do have to go have a look at the Quest then to see which one. But I do miss going lunch with my colleagues. That's a must. But I don't really miss the queues and the weather. But okay. Right. I think we are about the tail end of the session. Thank you all for the Q&A. Any last parting words? Casey, would you like to wrap this up?
I mean, as a whole, I guess when we are in the current situation of COVID, especially, I think it helps accelerate a lot of digital kind of processes within a company, right? And I think as a kind of a HR practitioner, what I'm always trying to look at is, are we using the latest kind of solution out there to benefit our employees, right? And the other way to look at it is also what other tools that we can use that actually cost not that much, but we can sort of incrementally increase our investment, right? So for example, in my case, basically we don't sort of have to invest at one go. We sort of experiment with these solutions. And by the way, after we experimented the pilot program, we gather the data. So the data then will help us, you know, tell another story, a stronger story that the management would then give us the blessing, right, to go full force, right? So I guess what I'm doing is not entirely new to business. The business has been doing this in their, you know, getting the sales, getting the product out there. So I'm really trying to apply, you know, what is already out there in the HR kind of practices. I myself think technology like this, digitalization should disrupt HR. That is much needed, right? I think HR requires a lot of disruption because if not, we are not keeping pace with the business, right? As the years gone by, right? So my advice is generally for everyone to be more open-minded, right? There's a lot of limitation when it comes to technology, cost-wise. You know, people don't understand it. Your board member probably don't understand how the apps works. So you need to put in a lot of work, but I would say at the end, the data itself sells, right? The data is actually a worthwhile journey for us, right? Yeah.
Okay, great. Your advice indeed. Munch, any last parting?
I would like to agree with Casey. I think we are in an age where so many new things are happening. I think the best way to learn is by experimenting, right? So Casey, for example, started the experiment with a smaller group of employees. When he's successful, you know, he tried to expand what works into more areas of application, you know, and then it involves more employees and so on and so forth. So I think experimenting is important.
Okay, great. Thank you, Munch, Casey from Malaysia, our first overseas speakers. Always nice to have you, and of course, thank you for coming by. Even though I know you are feeling pretty under the weather. Okay, I guess this is it. Thank you all for coming, and this will be posted on our YouTube channel, so do look out for it. For the attendees, I can send you Munch details as well. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.